go. And so today, I'm really thrilled because the person who sparked my heart many, many years ago, probably in 2014, Patton Thoele, author of over 13 books. She was the one that did it. So I would like for us to get our mindset around our spirit, fasten our seatbelts, because we're going to learn and grow together in the classroom. Patton Thoele is in the class. Here we go. Time to dance, Sue.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough, if you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are been tuning into the show since 2011, I'm here to tell you it's a classroom now. And if you just tuned in yesterday for the first time, just know, welcome back. I'm so excited that you're back. But if it's the first time that you have tuned into the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom, then please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. And it is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, I'm excited today because we're going to be giving a special book away. And I think we are. Anyway, if not, we are. But the book is called Strength. Now, I have to take you down my Patton Thoele memory lane here, because a long time ago, gosh, I'm trying to remember what year it was. It might be in this book already. But in 2000 and maybe 13, someone gave me this book. Her name is April. It was a Secret Santa gift, and it's called The Women's Book of Souls. And from the moment I opened that book, Sue was speaking to me. It was about discovering the heart and the environment, the climate of the heart, and how the heart was doing. Was it dry? Was it barren? Was it fertile soil? And I remember reading day after day after day these beautiful, beautiful words that fed my spirit and soul. And I realized, wow, it had been a while. I confused religion and spirituality for such a long time. I thought they were, one was interactive with the other or interchangeable. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes that spiritual growth is so important or always is important. But then I couldn't help but reach out to her. I contacted Sue, and she replied. And I told her, I don't know if Sue remembers this, but I told her when I saw her, and I invited her on the show at the time, and she said yes. I told her that although I have the name McDermott, I'm Spanish and I'm doing a Puerto Rican jig because I was so happy that she would be coming on the show. So she's been on, and you can listen to podcasts with Patton Thoele. You go to whenyouneedafriend.com, listen to some of the different shows that we've done together. But then after reaching out to her, I don't know, it's been a while, maybe a year, I found out that once again, she's come out of what some people call retirement, but I don't think she ever goes into it because, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so this is her latest book. And so I want to encourage all of you to contact me at 407-373-5959 if you want to get a free copy of this book. And the book is called Strength, Meditations for Wisdom, Balance, and Power. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Sue Patton Thoele is back to do just that. Welcome, Sue, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show / classroom.
Thank you, Lily.
Yes.
Good to be here.
Yes, this is the first time we see each other.
Well, we've seen pictures of each other, but not actual talking and being able to see each other live.
Isn't it wonderful? Wonderful that we can do that.
I must admit, I'm a little hesitant to look at myself, but I'll look at you.
Okay, there we go. But just look at the camera. Pretend I'm the camera. I'm the one-eyed camera. So here we go. So as you are, the last time I spoke to you, you said, "No, I'm done. I'm not writing anymore." So you've written 13 books. You're a psychotherapist. You have done it all. You have written every single chapter of your life, every single milestone in your life. Why now?
Well, I hope there's still to come.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So let's dive into that right away.
What milestones I'm looking for?
No. I said, why come out of retirement and write?
Oh,
yes.
Well, I got an invitation I couldn't refuse. I went down to INATS, what's called INATS, New International New Age Trade Show. And I'd done a lot of that when I was actively writing. And I went down just with a friend of mine who runs the bookstore in my church. And there was my publisher. I didn't expect that, but if I'd thought about it, I would have known. And so the owner of the publishing company happened to be there, and we were chatting, and he said, "So, you want to write another book?" And I said, "God, no. Why would I want to do that?"
I think you said that to me last time.
Yeah. What would I write about? Aging? And he said, "Well, just think about it." And by the time I got home, I had a book outlined. Well, semi-outlined. At least I had the idea. And I was asking myself what it was I was working with at the time, and it was acceptance. And so the editor said, "I can't sell a book with acceptance in it, the title." And I said, "Oh, shucks, okay." And he said, "So what do you think acceptance is?" And I said, "Strength." And he said, "That I can sell." So, and then it morphed. It just morphed because I got, like a lot of us, I got so discouraged by what was happening. And it just became so apparent to me that the world was sorely out of balance. And that what needed to be balanced in our world in order for us to save our actual planet and ourselves was that we needed to come into the feminine needed to assert herself and come into balance. We've been out of balance with masculine energy and values. And I want to tell people, I'm not really talking about men and women. I'm talking about the values and the qualities of the feminine and the masculine. Yes. We need both.
Yes.
But we have been way out of balance with the masculine qualities, which are the driving qualities and the doing qualities. And we need more of the feminine qualities, which are able to hold the whole picture and able to be empathetic and listening and honoring and accepting and embracing. The feminine doesn't put other people down. The feminine doesn't build herself up because she has that innate awareness of her own strength and her own value. And of course, when I'm talking about this, Lily, I'm talking about an ideal.
Yes.
But the reality of it is women are incredibly strong. We've always been strong. We have to be strong because we are the bearers of the generations.
Yes.
And some friends of mine and I'm going to see if I can find that note. I can't, but some friends had a launch party for me. And the person who decorated it used her mother's crystal candelabras and some lace tablecloths that her mother had. And she said, because I decorated in a vintage style because women have always been the underlying strength. And that is true. And we have been taught and trained, and I was going to use the word tortured. I'm going to go ahead and use it into believing otherwise.
Yeah.
And acting smaller than we are.
Yeah, you write about that in your book as well, is that we've been, almost expected to kind of, instead of being a lighthouse, be okay with being a match. And although that match, even though that match is powerful, it could create a big mess, right? Mm-hmm. But still, to be able to stand tall and say, I can be a lighthouse with you, and all of us be lighthouses. Mm-hmm. We're ridiculed by the matches, and we're ridiculed by the flashlights. And so it's so important that we stand tall and bring that, because even a strong woman is considered, they might think that, she's got a lot of masculine power. Even a strong woman could be, they could say, instead of saying it's her own femininity that makes her strong. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's, the feminine is innately strong, but she has that capacity to engage and embrace others with it, because the feminine herself, the feminine values and qualities are not competitive. They're complementary. And so we're in such an overwhelming competitive society, and it's not doing us any good. And it also fosters blindness to reality. The feminine values and qualities are nothing if not realistic. We can balance such paradoxes within us. And I know that Melinda Gates, in her new book, she's saying, her subtitle is How Empowering Women Can Change the World. And Lily, I think it's even deeper than that. I think empowering women can save the world. Okay. And we need that now. We really do, because we are dangerously out of balance.
Yes, we are. And I agree with you. I agree with you there. And I see that, where did you pick, but, before I go into all these questions, I normally ask for my teachers to share a little bit about their background and what led them to becoming, who they are today. But I feel that, it's been a while since you've been in the classroom. Right. And so I feel like you're like my relative coming on the show. Hey, come meet my relative here. And but share a little bit about your background and what led you to start writing and what led you to write for women. Okay.
Well, I am the poster girl for trying to be perfectly what the patriarchy wanted me to be. I'm old, and I say that with great joy.
How old are you now, Sue?
I'm 79. That's about as
79.
close to 80 as you can get.
Yeah.
And I'm probably more, I'm happier than I've ever been.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
also thankfully stronger. But I was trained. I was born and raised in the Midwest, and I grew up in a town called Independence, which was not. I mean, it was an oxymoron to big time. So I was really trained to acquiesce and to believe that men are right and I need to be quiet. And then I got married just like I was supposed to at 21 and had my first baby at 22, just like I was supposed to, because I was a pretty good rule follower. And then my husband decided that he liked my best friend better than he did me. And so, oops. And that I'm not sure exactly how old, but that sent me on a quest to know who I was, because without marriage, I was kind of floating around. So I just began a huge spiritual search. I went back to graduate school and got a master's in psychology. And then I married again, and we created a blended family. And that too is a euphemism, blended family. But and it's been great for all of us. Now, it was not easy. Not easy. I know you know.
We share so many parallels. And that's why I just had to reach out to you. I felt like you were like sent before me just to guide me.
Well, what I realized, because my second husband was tall, dark, handsome, successful, blah, 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 and I fell into that same rut. Yes, sir. Okay. I hope I can do everything to please you. And if you're not pleased, golly, it must be my fault. And then I read this self-help book that had
dang it for the self-help books, you know?
No, this one created a monster, actually.
A wonderful feminine monster. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But I read it and I read it and I read it and I read it. I got to the last 3 pages and I went, well, okay, so now I know all the stuff that's wrong with me and all the stuff I've done wrong. And she had 3 pages of a little bit of help about what to do about that. And I was on a retreat with myself at the time. And I remember tossing that book against a fireplace and saying, if I ever write a book, I'm going to make it practical. And then the muse got a hold of me, and I was leading women's groups. And the thing that became very prevalent to me was no matter who we were, whether people were younger than me, single, whatever their situation, working or not working, we all had some of those same fears. We all tried to please everybody, tried to do it all, never really felt okay about ourselves. Or we became a bitch and said, well, I'll show them. And that's not authentic in most cases.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's need for bitchiness, but not in a denigrating way.
Sure.
And so I just couldn't not write my first book, which was entitled The Courage to Be Yourself. And from there, I just got hooked, and because I was a therapist and most of my clients were women, and I am one, then I knew what was going on with women, and how we really truly could do most anything, but we very rarely took the credit for that, or we very rarely stood up when it was uncomfortable, without resorting to, adopting those masculine values of it's my way or the highway,
Correct.
And that's to be authentic. It's so important that we just really honor and are aware of what we innately have. And men have this too. It's just that women naturally have more of that. And then there are some men who have more of the feminine than they do the masculine too.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's us.
Yeah.
We do. And we haven't been given a microphone. We haven't taken a microphone in ways that honor the feminine archetype or the qualities and values.
So let's talk about this feminine archetype that you describe. You have this real good vision about the feminine.
I do.
You say the feminine is strong, they're compassionate, they don't compete. Mm-hmm. And you have this ideal of what the feminine energy or that feminine that needs to rise in our country. Where did you get that? Where did you get that definition, especially when I see even women fighting over positions that, so it's really easy to say, okay, ideally the feminine is like better than the masculine, but
no, I wouldn't say that.
Or it's needed. They're both needed, but
we need to balance.
Correct. We need to both. And
yes.
And in our body, in our own body, to speak our truth, and you so beautiful. And by the way, for those of you who are watching, and if you have any questions for Sue, feel free to ask. But if you want a copy of Strength, and this is a beautiful book on meditations for wisdom, balance, and power. And that's 407-373-5959. If you call, I don't answer, but you can leave a message, but you can feel free to text. So with that awareness, of how do I hold that feminine energy in my body, and how do I bring it out to the world? Because there's a difference between that feminine within me and how I feel at liberty to project it out in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's where we need to gather together with like-minded women. Mm-hmm. I am very blessed to have a lot of women in my life who are on the same path. And so we encourage each other. Mm-hmm. And when you're encouraged, you can have more courage. Mm-hmm. We are a gender that comes together in crisis.
Yes.
We come together. We create the basket. We create the web, and that's what we naturally do. We not only create that basket, but we also gather all the children. And I'm talking idealistically, but I'm also talking just practically and realistically.
Yeah.
If you have a crisis in your life, there are probably men that you call, but in order to get the support, and especially if your children need care, you call the women. Mm-hmm. That you know, because that's what the feminine does. The feminine is relational. Mm-hmm. The masculine is rational. And we need both of those things. We need to not only balance those in the world, but in ourselves. Yes. And the feminine is really adept at being and understanding. And the masculine is adept at doing and accomplishing. Mm-hmm. And the feminine also is creative. And the masculine is more concrete. So for the feminine, for us, there are lots of options. Mm-hmm. And it really works for us when those options are win-win.
I love win-win.
Yes.
I love
You're
win-win.
a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, but here's the thing, Sue. The world does not teach win-win. The world teaches I must win so that you must lose so I can win. And the reality is it's not real. Win-lose is not a way to win. And, if you feel like you have to win at any cost, that's not a win either. And the best example that was ever presented to me was the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. Who won the Super Bowl? And when, it's the masculine energy will say who won the Super Bowl. But if you take a step backwards and you say, okay, who got paid? Everybody got paid, right? The winners and the people who didn't win. And, and you can go a little bit further. The people that were selling all the merchandising and the broadcasting and everybody, and we even won because we got a great entertainment. And so that's the win-win. But what the media creates is, our team's going to beat your team and you're going to be, and that lesson right there, win-win, is how I run my whole life. And it has completely changed my business. It's changed the classroom. It's changed everything, because now it's not about me winning. It's about us winning. How can we, meet halfway? What can we do where you feel that you're walking away feeling just as happy as I am?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is what I'm talking about. That the world is out of balance in that competition.
Yes. Unfortunately.
Win, lose.
Yes.
And we have examples of it daily.
Yes.
Minutely.
Yes.
Tweedily.
Yes.
And so basically we're just kind of careening, and the feminine doesn't do that. The feminine is she looks and intuits and understands and moves from the heart.
Okay. And I love that. I love that. And it's because I know you, and I know that you've got 13 books. One that we're giving away today is called Strength. It's a book of meditations for wisdom, for balance and power. 407-373-5959. Claim your book. I didn't even say, be the 10th caller or texter. 407-373-5959. You'll get a free copy of the book. These are my the one. I call this my 8-ball, by the way, Sue. This is
your
my
8-ball?
My 8-ball. I shake it, I put it on my heart, and then I open it up and I go, okay, Sue is speaking to me right now. Oh, I need to read this one. Okay, so I remember driving around with all the archangels and, telling them, like, my car's full, I need a new car because all the archangels are in there with me. But, I love how you write. I love, but what I know about your writing is that you're experiencing, if you look at the titles if you go to Sue Patton Thoele, and Thoele is spelled Thoele. So if in the way to best remember, it's holy with a lisp, right? So that's what Sue explained to me when I first, do you pronounce your name? Said it's holy with a lisp. So Sue Patton Thoele. And you can go to SuePattonThoele.com and you can see all the books that she has, and you'll know exactly what she was going through at that time. So for anyone who feels that they must be equipped with all the information in order to do something, then Sue Patton Thoele will show you that you can go through something and still share through the process, right? That's basically what you do.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. And I think that's how we learn.
Yes.
We hear stories, we share stories, we read other people's stories. It's like there are lots of books now coming out, like Michelle Obama's book, that's her story, how she created herself, and then Melinda Gates, and how she helps other women create their thing, and mine about how to gain strength. There's lots and lots of ways, helps, how to do that. And, I've used most, in fact, but it's not a done deal, Lily. It's like, okay, so I'm in my office today talking to you.
Yeah.
Yesterday at this time, a neighbor's dog was barking completely for about 2.5 hours across the cul-de-sac on the porch. That same neighbor was out in the front yard in front of me today, and her dog was playing with a couple other dogs. It's kind of a doggy play place occasionally. And I like that. I love dogs. And so I don't mind that. But I went out and I asked the two women, I've got a favor. I'm going to be talking today between my time, 3 and 4. And I wondered if you would not have the dogs playing there. It wasn't easy. I mean, I wanted to make sure I did it, so beautifully that they wouldn't think I was asking too much, and they wouldn't think I was being, big-headed. I mean, it's all sorts of stuff. We just say, okay, I hear you, honey. And then we practice self-compassion. Mm. And that is kind of my soapbox, I guess, really. I believe we're all strong. I think one of the reasons we can't show it, and we haven't yet been able to get the world balanced, is that we don't treat ourselves as compassionately as we need, deserve, and would be healthy.
Yeah.
So I just got a little example of that today, coming in saying, oh my God, hope they don't think I'm just awful. And, I didn't tell her about the dog barking yesterday. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, it was a legitimate request. But that's what we do.
But isn't the story in our head?
Yes.
There is a Seneca. He's a Stoic, a Roman Stoic, and he said, we suffer in our imaginations more than in reality. And I love that. I love that quote. And I can't believe it came out of my mouth because sometimes I stumble upon it, and it's a great quote to stumble upon, especially when you're telling yourself a story in your head that, they probably said, oh, well, that's nice. Now look at that. Her book is doing well. She's going to do, and here we are coming in going, oh, I can't believe it.
I know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have anything to do with them, really. It has to do with my programming to always be a nice girl. And when asking a favor maybe isn't a nice girl, and what I needed to do was to just be as compassionate as I could be to that part of me.
Yeah.
And yet, here I am sharing that. So that's what we were talking about.
Yes. We
learn by saying, oh gosh, me too. That kind of stuff. So you asked me how I what did you ask me?
I love you, Sue Patton Thoele. Okay, so here we go. So, I shared with you that this is how I use your book. I shake it. I put it in my heart. So you have, there is a way we can use this. We can open this book anywhere we want, or we can read it from cover to cover. But I love how you say in the book, you say these meditations for becoming stronger, happier, healthier, and more bodacious. It's like, bodacious, where'd that come from? That's a word that just came out of nowhere. But your goal is for us to deepen connections, look at courage, self-compassion, growing in relationships, acknowledging healing wounds. And so that is, I'd mentioned to you before, and I guess I'm going to be talking about my 5-day fast, like I talk about a triathlon that got a medal on it. But I was mentioning to you how when I was going through the fast, and today I spoke with the Fastcation support group, and we all felt that, when we are, going through this process, sometimes wounds do raise to the surface. They kind of come up because now you're not digesting any food. You got to face the fact that maybe there's something brewing and stewing in you. And so it comes to the surface, and, we can choose to ignore it, which could go back into our body and cause dis-ease, or we can embrace it and heal it. So I'd love for you to share ways, because I know if I know you were going through some incredible stuff as you were getting it out of your body. Mm-hmm. So would you like to share your circumstances by which you felt, that you were out of balance and that you wanted to write this so that not only you could help yourself, but in going through that, help others as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I'm lucky in that my time of life, I don't have as many responsibilities as the young moms and the
Sure.
gals with careers and a lot of responsibilities have
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've learned is that then you can just dig a little deeper. And so, just like most of us, I'm still married to the second guy.
How many years now, Sue?
44.
Awesome.
Uh-huh. But still, there are things, our circumstances are different. We're different ages and capabilities. And there were things that needed to be worked on. Mm-hmm. And things that could only be, I don't want to say solved, but could only be harmonized.
Okay. I love that word.
With my honesty. Mm-hmm. And my strength to be able to take whatever consequences that evoked. The interesting thing that I found mm-hmm. is that as I come out of Waffleville, although I just gave you a great example of Waffleville just a minute ago, but although I did it, I asked, mm-hmm. and but it's especially in my major relationships. If I come out of Waffleville, and if I approach saying, "This is what I notice, and this is what I need, and this is what I'm going to do," not asking anything. Well, let's just say my husband. Okay, let's say instead of approaching him like I used to, like begging and hoping for understanding and wanting change. As I gained my strength, and I told you earlier, Lily, that writing this book changed my life. It did. In writing it, and I had a lot of help writing this, a lot of help from my crew, my sort of angelic crew. Yeah. And it felt very inspired. Yeah. Not channeled. Somebody asked me if it was channeled. No, God, I wrote every word of that. But
I just whispered in your ear. You just wrote it.
Right. And I dealt with the technical stuff. And but if I could say to Jean, okay, here's what I noticed, here's my truth, and here's what I'm going to do. He was free to either accommodate or change or look at it or not. But I am creating a life that works for me in that. And the interesting thing is, when I'm not waffly, then, and I don't beg and plead and ask him to change and so forth, I don't end up disappointed. I end up empowered. That's right. And here's the kicker, more loving. I like this guy better than I have for a long time. And it really is just so much that I've been able to say what's true for me.
You do talk about finding your voice and all these things that we talk about this and I want to acknowledge the fact that not only you, Sue, have been a wonderful teacher for me. You were that spark that allowed me to see through your writing, through your experience and sharing your experience, that is a way that we can take ownership for our life. Some people take information and they hoard it, and they don't want to give that information away. But I love that about your books, that you are just so willing to say, listen, I am human. I go through, just because I'm a psychotherapist or I have some form of diploma in my wall, I still suffer. I still waffle. I still do all these things. And this is how I dealt with it. We can be invitation, but that doesn't mean that if you don't come to my party, I'll take it personally. So I love the fact that you are invitation in every single book that you have, an invitation to a happy marriage, an invitation to start life after 50, an invitation to, strength, to soften your soul. That's what you do. And that's what, I had already started the show, but it was becoming like, all these teachers that have just like, herded me along the way. I was like, okay, being like pile driven by all of you who have allowed me to find my voice, to be able and to be given a mic that you talk about. The feminine don't have a mic. Yes, we do. And we've got to acknowledge that we are feminine and that within our femininity, we can do all these things. And there is a sentence, a saying that goes that, God does not call the equipped. God equips the called. Mm-hmm. And so for people to wait on the sideline saying, oh, I'll wait till I have this or I'll wait to have that. And what I love about the teachers that have been on the show in the classroom now, that we call it, they have stepped outside the box. And for all of us, we've learned these new truths all along. So I want to encourage all of you that are watching to share this and to let people see that there is a new language out there. It doesn't have to be win-lose. It can be win-win. And it should be win-win because everybody, that getting rid of that resistance. And that's something I felt in your book, Strength, that there was resistance building. And you were able to, look at that resistance and kind of like peel it away, just peel it away. And so I want to encourage all of you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe to the channel, there's a lot of different icons to find me on social media and YouTube. You can click on subscribe to my YouTube channel, podcasts, and also on facebook.com/Lillian's radio show. I don't know how I can add the classroom portion to it, but it's been Lillian's radio show and we need to leave that as that. And so please make sure that you help grow the show. One of the things that has happened through the process is that these teachers had stood up beside me and said, we're going to hold your hand through this process and we're going to be sponsors of your show. Sponsors like Liberty Health Share. You can go to libertyhealthshare.org, step away from insurance and go towards true affordable health care. Keep Me Safe Organics Worldwide, organic, non-synthetic, chemical-free stuff that you put on your face and your body. First Alternative Care, where you can take care of your whole entire family, family practice, dermatology, 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling for $35 a household. These are life-changing mind thinking, people that have thought outside the box. Dr. Stephen Grable, who was on the show yesterday talking about chelation in the claw, getting rid of our heavy metals, and the pharmacy in Merritt Island, who have been so supportive of the show. And now you have an opportunity to also be a sponsor by going to the enrolling student, the student enrollment page, and you can decide to donate for the show as well. You can make it consecutive, monthly, or it could be a one-time thing. There's different, actually the way it's set up is for every month. So check it out and hopefully you can be a part of growing the classroom. And also go to my sponsors page, check them out, figure out how you can support them the way they're supporting the classroom as well. So that being said, I want to go back to the importance of strength, the importance of identifying that is something that is brewing. Like I was saying, there was a discontentment. And whenever, Sue, I feel discontentment, I know something good is going to happen. Because that means I've become aware that this isn't going to fly. And we can be angry about it, or we can sit back and make a plan. How am I going to create win-win? How can I share this with the people I love now so that 3 years don't go by and I'm holding this resentment? It affects my body because you'll self-implode. You really will. Mm-hmm. One thing that I've learned from all the teachers in the classroom. So do you have steps that you took that you can share with our, people who are watching today, people that will watch in the future?
Oh, yeah. The awareness is huge.
Yes.
And we need to, first of all, awareness, it's what everything begins with. We have to, like you were saying, you're aware of discontent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then acknowledge that.
Mm-hmm.
And then accept it.
Okay.
And then you can take one more step and embrace it. And from that, because often instead we are aware of something and we say, okay, and we acknowledge it. And then we say, no way.
Mm-hmm.
So we move into a resistance like you were talking about.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work it doesn't work because that just puts something in there to fight against.
Yes.
So when you move into acceptance and say, okay, and I'll just use today's thing with the neighbors.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, yeah, there you are, honey. I wonder how old that person is. And, it's probably a teenager, just really wanting to fit in with a group and not do anything that alienates me from the neighbors. And then accept that and embrace me, embrace that person in me. I talk about subpersonalities and strengths because we have a lot of different aspects of ourselves that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. And when I could do that, then resistance didn't get in the way. When there's that softening and acceptance into the heart of something, maybe we don't care for it, for sure. But okay, it's there. In that acceptance and embracing, it can change. In resistance, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. We just get
more out of it because you're focused on the resistance.
Yeah.
You're not
focused and that's where your energy is.
Yes, exactly.
And that's defensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things about the feminine. She isn't defensive. She's intuitive and takes in and understands. And I really do want to stress that wisdom. I am a firm believer that the feminine carries an innate, connected to the creation wisdom. And I'm talking about in both men and women. But in us, it's been more socially acceptable to notice that and to act from it. And the more we can love ourselves, the more we can treat ourselves gently, as my old state, live gently with yourself and others has been my tagline forever.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm 100% at it, but it means I'm getting better at it. And the more we can do that, we can incorporate that self-love and gentleness, the more we have our own backs and the more courage that gives us then to act out and to stand up for that which we intuitively know is best for the whole.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's Mother Earth or that's the kids next door or, our pets or mostly ourselves. Mm-hmm. Because as we treat ourselves, we will do to others.
Yes. And as we see ourselves, we see others.
You got that right.
Yeah. Yes. We, that's the one thing I always say when people come to me with gossip to tell me about people, I'm like, oh, wow, thank you for telling me about yourself. It's like, they're just talking about themselves and you have to do that little shifty thing, but you talk about awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance, and then embrace it. But there are a lot of different steps in between, and so with the book Strength, by the way, 407-373-5959, be the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and you'll get a free copy of this wonderful book. That it requires almost like this awareness of, okay, how did I do this before? How have I accepted, think about like the worst case, that it's ever happened and I was able to accept it. I was able to acknowledge it. it's not going to kill me. And I sometimes I think I go through this process of like this little checklist of, okay, the self-cleaning oven. And Sue, you're my self-cleaning oven muse. Whenever you're going through it, okay, it's time to write, it's time to write about it. And, but that's how you become a self-cleaning oven, is that you start figuring out like there's a terminology that I use a lot with some of the medical doctors that are on there, that, we need to be our own MD. Richard Horowitz said this. He's a Lyme disease expert, Dr. Richard Horowitz. And he said, we need to become our own MD, medical detective. And so we need to, that concept of trying to figure out what's the root cause, what's driving me there, and then be able to say, okay, now that I know what this is, and then go through the process of dumping it. Just even writing, when I started writing my book, you said, first you spew, then review. Isn't that what we do?
Right. Well, the self-cleaning oven, as you know, gets really, really hot.
Yes.
And so this is what life is about. We get really, really hot. We have things that, just like having a fever, if you've got something in your body that the immune system is trying to get rid of, it gives you a fever.
Yes.
So does the emotional stuff.
Yes.
And that's one more reason why we do it as gently as possible.
Yes.
You just never would treat a child with a heavy fever or an illness of any kind. You just never would say, oh, stop it. Get up and go to school anyway. You just wouldn't.
Yes.
But we do that to ourselves.
That's a great example. Because I know that we're running out of time, and I had mentioned to Sue, it's like I've got a meeting that I need to go to right after the show. So I wanted to talk about when, I love it, was really cute. It said, welcoming your inner virgin. And you talk about your sister-in-law, Jo.
Yes.
Let's talk about the inner virgin.
Well, Jo is 92, and she was, she's even older than I. And she was taught to take a back seat, and she did. And her husband did everything, all the financial stuff and so forth. And when he got sick and began to go into dementia, she said to me, I don't think I'm that strong. I just do what needed to be done. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's just such a wonderful example of what the feminine does. Mm-hmm. We do what needs to be done. And the definition of virgin is a woman sufficient unto herself. And we want to have our own strength, but we also naturally come together. Mm-hmm. And what Jo created was this incredibly safe place for her husband to get old and demented and die. Mm-hmm. Now, she did it a little bit, not too gently with herself, so she's hurt her back and stuff like that. So we need to balance that.
Yeah.
Everything. But we do what needs doing, and we are wise.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Sue, I know that we are coming to the end of the class, and I love the lessons that you always teach me. You're an amazing woman. And, I know, even though you say, why would I want to write another book? I have a feeling there's still going to be another book, and I'm looking forward to holding it in my hand someday. So thank you so much, Sue.
Thank you, Lily.
Everything that you do. And for those of you who want to learn more about Sue Patton Thoele, you can go to Sue Patton Thoele. That's THOELE. That's THOELE.com. And there's so much more that this book holds that we weren't even able to tap into, because this is the first time that really you get to meet Sue, and perhaps maybe we can have her back and you guys can ask all the questions that you want today. Thank you so much for watching today. And for those of you who are going to be watching on or listening on the podcast and YouTube, please always know you can join us at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Looking forward to our next conversation.
Thank you.
Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Sue Patton Thoele wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day
Ever.
Yeah, that's the best ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
And I just want to say thank you to all of you who are watching on Facebook Live. I want Sue to give you a beautiful pearl. She doesn't even know she's going to do this. But for those of you, Robert and Victoria, and I know that Asia was on there. I think I saw a few other people as well. I just lost everybody's name that was on there. But I want to say thank you for watching today. Please like us, share this information. We need this platform to grow because there's so much we don't know. And the only way we're going to learn it is if we open ourselves to these new truths. Right, Sue? I mean,
Right.
Every time you write a book or every time that you go through life, you're learning new truths, aren't you?
Sure. Yeah. As is everyone.
Now, if you could go back to the 50-year-old Sue or the 20-year-old Sue, knowing about the feminine and the masculine, knowing that this is probably a very special time in your life, what would you tell her?
Oh, honey, love yourself. Just love yourself completely and with acceptance.
And what would you tell Sue in the future, 92-year-old Sue Patton Thoele?
You're a pretty crazy old dame, and here you are.
Well, we are all lucky because we have this crazy old dame on our side teaching us at every age. You know, it's amazing. You know, some people have this limiting belief that if they're a certain age, or if they don't have a degree, or if they don't have, if they don't look a certain way, that somehow they're not enough. And every time I pick up one of your books and every time that we have a conversation, it's almost like I have this plate full of Sue Patton Thoele and I just eat it up and it just goes right into my spirit and it goes into my soul. And I just want to thank you, Sue, for always being that right there when I need you. Right? Like again, my 8-ball. You're my favorite 8-ball. Has anybody ever called you an 8-ball other than me?
Never, but I really love it. And you're one of my favorite cheerleaders, so thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And for those of you, I wish we'd had more time after the show or the class to have any questions. If you have any questions for Sue, feel free to send me messages for her, because I know that she will continue to grace the classroom and be one of our favorite teachers that fills our spirit, which we neglect our spirit, and we really do need to fill that hole, that pinhole that I had in my spirit and my soul. And I was able to really dive into it, look at it with curiosity, and considered that there was opportunity and possibility in that little hole, and was able to start filling it with new truths and quieted the lies, just like the lies that, Sue, I'm sure that you've told yourself in your head,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So thank you for your courage. I mean, you do have a book called Courage.
I do.
So, it's like, okay, want to know what Sue was going through? Pick up one of her books, and if it resonates to you, probably one of my favorite gifts that I got ever from a Secret Santa is this book, and I'm just so grateful. It's the gift that keeps on giving, just like you, Sue. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then for those of you who are watching on Facebook, I am so grateful for you. And please share on YouTube, on Facebook, and podcast. Until we meet again, here we go. I'm going to stop the live stream and